Do you often get through your day with the feeling that you didn't get much done? Do you sometimes feel that you only got half of the things that you needed to do? Do you feel drained by all the debates and comments on social media, all the competing, the posing, the filters? Do you want to feel mentally at peace, more focused, and get more done? Then keep listening as we learn how to focus on deep work. Hi, welcome back. My name is Dr. Aziz. I'm a psychology graduate of Cambridge University and also a medical doctor. In this video, I'll be covering the book Deep Work: Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World by Cal Newport. It's a great read that contains much needed information and something we all really need in this age of smartphones and notifications. It covers topics such as how multitasking makes you less productive, the difference between deep work and being in the zone, and how a shower can be a good time for focusing on a specific issue. Multitasking. Many people feel that doing tons of things at once increases their productivity, but the truth is actually the complete opposite. The truth is multitasking is not synonymous with productivity. A business professor from the University of Minnesota, Dr. Sophie Leroy, demonstrated this in a study in 2009. In her research, two groups were set tasks of completing puzzles. Group A were asked midway to go on to read other material and make hypothetical hiring decisions, whilst Group B finished their puzzles before moving on to the other tasks. They were both asked specific questions to test their focus. It was noted Group A, the group that had to leave their puzzles halfway, their minds were still left on the puzzle, whereas Group B were fully focused on their new tasks as they had finished their puzzles. The study demonstrated that when switching from task X to task Y, our attention stays attached to the first activity. This means we are only partially focused on the second task, which impairs our overall performance. Another 2012 study by McKinsey et al. Found that employees used only 30% of their work online time for work purposes or emails, the remaining 70% for surfing the internet. Despite this, employees feel that they are working more than ever. This is because completing small tasks and moving information around makes us feel perpetually busy, but in reality it's actually preventing us from truly focusing and getting real work done. Incidentally, this phenomenon of continuous partial attention was mentioned by Oliver Fox-Cabane in the book The Charisma Myth, which you may remember we covered on this channel. You may remember one of the three core features of being charismatic is that of presence, something we can't achieve if our mind is all over the place. I'll link that animated summary down here on the right at the end. Anyway, so how do we become more focused and achieve more in our day, every day? Well, there are several possible options outlined in this book. Number one, the monastic approach. Monastic means to do with monks or nuns. This approach basically says eliminate all sources of distraction and seclude yourself like a monk. Number two, the bimodal approach. This involves setting a clearly defined long period of protected time for work or study and then leaving the rest of your time free for everything else. Number three, the rhythmic approach. This approach advocates deep blocks of work, for example 90 minutes at a time, and using a calendar or checklist to track your achievements. Number four, the journalistic strategy. This approach entails taking any unexpected free time in your daily routine to do deep work. The key point is this: whichever method you choose or employ, it has to be methodical, not haphazard or random. We mentioned earlier about the difference between being in the zone and deep work. Getting into the zone occurs by chance and often after much procrastination. Deep work, on the other hand, is intentional and desired. This makes it essential that you have rituals that prepare your mind for deep work. An example of a ritual may be defining your own space or simply putting a do not disturb sign on your door. Many people find going to the library or coffee shop is more productive than working at home. J.K. Rowling, when finishing off her final Harry Potter book, stayed at a 5-star hotel to escape her hectic home environment and immerse herself into deep work. Another example of a ritual is to define boundaries, such as disconnecting the internet or turning off our phones. We need to make our deep work realistic and sustainable. What that means is that we need to fuel our bodies appropriately, otherwise it will be physically difficult to focus. Whether that means some food, coffee, or even some light exercise to wake up. Remember, healthy body and healthy mind go together. Our brains have gotten used to craving distractions. Everywhere we look, people are glued to their screens, playing games, messaging, putting stories up. By the way, I'll be doing a video soon on screen addiction. I'm just working through Dr. Cardaras's excellent book on screen addiction, and more importantly, how we can control it and stop it from taking over our lives. So be sure to hit the subscribe and notifications button so you receive this as soon as it's released in the next few weeks. In many ways, our brains are wired to be easily distracted. From a survival perspective, this actually makes sense, as random distractions could signal either risks or opportunities, and certainly technology and smartphones really feed into this. But the good news is that we can rewire our brains and focus utilizing something called productive meditation. What does this mean exactly? Productive meditation means to use otherwise unproductive activities such as walking your dog, driving to work, or even whilst in the shower to really focus in on an ongoing issue and use that idle time to try and find a solution. Social media. Be mindful of social media. If you need to use it to contact someone, use it, but be intentional, not just passively scrolling away. If you're struggling with social social media, consider deactivating and going cold turkey for a month. Remember, many people intentionally live without any social media, and often they say they are more mentally at peace. Planning. Many people get home from work and frequently just want to do nothing. What that often results in is having no fixed time slots allocated for any tasks. Ironically, we end up often in the same routine every night, watching TV, scrolling through our phones. When it is time to go to bed, we feel even more tired, get more depleted of energy, and this vicious cycle continues. So how do we combat this? Simple, by scheduling everything you do. Elon Musk famously plans every 5-minute block of his day in advance. You don't have to go to such extremes, but certainly planning your day and evening is very effective. Remember, he who fails to plan plans to fail. Inevitably, your schedule will change at times beyond control. That's fine, just rearrange your blocks. Planning your evenings and weekends in advance, planning your time ahead with activities that do not involve the internet will work wonders for your physical and mental health. Some final pointers from myself. Let's be real, the number one distraction for all of us is our smartphones. If we want to increase our productivity, we need to curb our time wasting on smartphones. Personally, I use an app called Stay Focused. You can set it so it locks you out of any time wasting apps after X amount of minutes per day. For example, I'm allowed 5 minutes of Facebook a day before a lock screen will come up on the app until midnight that night. In psychology, there is a concept known as infinity pools. Social media feeds right into this. Essentially what this means is you are given endless amounts of information in your feeds, effectively making us zombie-like slaves. Refrain from this, be proactive, take control of your phone, and in turn the most precious thing that you have in your life, that is your time. With messages and notifications, resist the urge to look at your phone with every buzz. The more you resist, the easier it gets. Conversely, every time you check your phone or laptop when you hear a ping, this will feed the addiction and you will get less work done. Make this clear to your close friends and family. If they really need something, they will learn to call you. We mentioned cold turkey earlier. Believe me, it really works. It's difficult at first, but then the cravings wane. At the end of med school, I gave up all fried food and sugar. Extreme it may sound, and certainly the first week and month were tough, but by month 4, the cravings were gone altogether. We don't advise drug users or smokers to have a weekly smoke, so why feed other addictions? Anyway, I hope you learned something useful and enjoyed this summary, and we all start getting more focused work done. If you want to keep learning about psychology, medicine, or life hacks, hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button. Any suggestions or comments, feel free to post down below. Until next time, stay safe.